Good people. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad, privileged, and honored to have you on here today. Really excited about this conversation. Are you well?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh no, I'm really great. I think I was speaking to somebody earlier on today about me interviewing you, and I was just telling them that whenever I have a conversation with you, or a chat from you, or I consume your content, even if it's from the littlest way, I always leave better in some area of my life. Whether it's career oriented or whether it's interactive oriented, and I really admire that. So it's good to have you on, and I know that there will be people who will be empowered by you as well. I'm sure when people think of you or think of the work that you do, the word empowerment comes up because I one thing I admire about you is how you consistently set and pace yourself to empower people, to empower organizations. And that's really what this platform is about, which is leadership. And I'm really interested to know, in what part, area, or season of your life did you discover that you actually have the ability to lead? I think for different people, it may be successive. For other people, it may be a dream. For other people, it may be an experience. But I really would love to know how you discovered it.
That's a very interesting question because no one's ever actually asked me when I discovered that I was a leader, and sometimes I don't even think I am. But I've found myself in those positions since I was a child. So I think since I was 12 years old. I've been kind of naturally gravitating into leadership positions, whether it's my classmates, kind of saying, no, Lebo, you should be the one who leads the team, or my teachers, or the adults around me. Somehow the people around me always thought, she seems responsible, she seems enthusiastic, let's put her in this leadership role. And when it started, I used to be really intimidated by the concept of leadership. Like, why are you putting all of this responsibility on me? I can't handle this, can't somebody else be in charge? But what I found was that even when I would try to make myself a little bit smaller and not visible so that I wouldn't be chosen as a leader, people would still say, we're thinking of going this way. What do you think? And I'd be thinking to myself, why do you care what I think? Just go with whatever the group is deciding on. And so I realized that this is how people see me, and I need to start stepping into that role in a very intentional and meaningful way instead of trying to run away from it. The responsibility can be overwhelming, but I think if you make leadership something that suits how you like to see the world, then leadership can be a very fulfilling thing that actually allows you to become a better person. And it teaches you so much about yourself and your skills and how you relate with other people. I always say to people that I'm a Virgo because I am. And so we're not really people's persons, we're not very good with interacting with people. I like being alone. I like my space. And so leadership for me really is a challenge. It really is something that I have to work on every single day. I have to say affirmations. I have to read about it. I have to keep teaching myself because my natural inclination is just to be by myself, do everything my way, and keep it moving. And we know with leadership that it's not about that. It's about tapping into other people's unique skills, teaching them how to unearth those, and then putting them in the team to create whatever we're trying to create for a client or whatever the case may be. So leadership probably is one of the most challenging things I've ever had to do, leading myself, leading others, but it is incredibly fulfilling, and it's enhanced my life in ways that I couldn't have imagined.
Wow, that's so profound. You said that you have to find yourself um, moving past your natural inclination. I've once heard somebody say that great people who walk in purpose make their personality submit to their purpose, because a lot of the
Oh.
times our personality may be a hindrance to our purpose. And we know
Mm.
our personality is shaped by our environments, atmospheres, experiences. Upbringing may also be a contribution. Hurts, traumas, experiences, anything it may be, may contribute to how your personality is within that time. So when you discover your leadership,
Mm.
you realize that no, man, this is bigger than that which is natural. So I love also how you spoke about affirmations, right? Where do you find the source of your affirmations? How do you identify this is for me? This is what I should be saying. This is what I should be speaking into my destiny as a leader.
Look, I mean, with affirmations, and they're such a big thing right now, right? So it's part of pop culture. Everybody's talking about affirmations. And I think affirmations are extremely powerful because they remind you of who you are. And when I was younger, I used to hate everything, motivation, affirmations. I was like, this is just mumbo jumbo. It does not work. Why do people believe in this stuff? But the older I got, the more I saw how important it is, A, to speak life into your life, to remind yourself who you are. Because a lot of the time in entrepreneurship, things move quickly and people have opinions and people come to you with offers and there's just a lot going on. So if you don't remember who you are, you can find yourself making decisions that you will regret in the future or decisions that don't fit where you're trying to go. And so for me, affirmations are that daily reminder that say, remember who you are, remember what you're trying to achieve, remember where you're trying to go. We need those daily reminders as people who are impacting societies, who are leading others, because a leader has to have the vision, a leader has to have some kind of direction. So without that, and that kind of self-affirming belief that as your leader, I believe in myself so much that if you walk with me, you will believe in yourself and we will do something meaningful. You know, as a leader, you can't leave room for fear in people or doubt. And you also can't promise people things that don't exist or aren't real. So the only thing that you can really give your team is the confidence and belief that you have in what you're doing. And you don't make that up. People feel it from you. And so I think when leaders work on themselves, whether they're using affirmations or podcasts or whatever the case may be, but just constantly speaking life to yourself, reminding yourself of your vision, reminding yourself of who you are, so that you really do have kind of a rooted sense of, I know what to listen to, I know what not to listen to, I know which opportunities to take, I know which opportunities not to take. And for a lot of people who don't know which affirmations to say, do I have the right things? Am I saying the right things? There is no right way to do this, right? I think with everything in life, I say start first and iterate as you go along. So in the beginning, if you think affirmations are just saying really nice things to yourself about yourself, start that way. You'll start to actually feel the difference. Like literally within 2-3 days of saying affirmations, you actually feel a difference in yourself. And you'll even see you walk better, you have better posture, you have a better day, you know? And then as you are using the affirmations, you'll start to see, okay, actually, when I say this, it's not really clicking. How do I fix it? And then go on Google. Google is your best friend. How do I write affirmations to help me navigate through meetings and have confidence? What kind of affirmations should I be using if I want to make more money and manifest the wealth mindset within myself? Because there are different affirmations, but I say start with yourself. Just start with the things you want to hear about yourself. I am capable of leading big teams. I am wealthy. I am deserving of the vision that I see for myself. You know, things like that. Just speak life into whatever you want to see for yourself, because what we see is what we believe. What we say is what we experience and what we think of ourselves. So I think the affirmations are really important if you're going to be a leader and you're going to be a visionary who's starting something new or leading people into something that they don't really see for themselves.
That's really good. And you said what we see is what we believe. That's
Mm-hmm.
really good. Meaning your results are also shaped by your belief, and
Yes.
it's your belief that determines what you say. Also, it's your belief that determines what you think. And I love I love that point. That was really profound. What you see is what you believe, meaning you have the ability to see that which you can believe. Please expand a little bit on that.
You know, it's actually quite interesting that you're saying that because just before our call, our Zoom interview, I was on Twitter and I saw that Tuli P and Uncle Waffles are trending. So I wanted to see what it was all about. And when I clicked on the Uncle Waffles hashtag, it was basically South Africans and people from the UK talking about how disappointed they were at a performance that she had somewhere in the UK, et cetera, right? So within this conversation, I decided that I wanted to give my 2 cents. And I basically said to people, when you observe the conversations that are happening around this whole Uncle Waffles thing, there are 2 things we can observe. The first one is you can use physical appearance and aesthetics as a strategic tool to get what you want for your business or your offering. People believe what they see, perception is king, it's everything, right? Then the second thing I said was, and I'm trying to remember this very quickly, but it was about how people need to be more strategic in how they do things and understand that credibility is something that you can engineer. It's not just, I'm a good person, therefore people will think I am. Everything is engineered. And as marketers, our main thing is the game of perception. Instagram, Twitter, all the social media apps, when those guys are sitting in boardrooms, what they're really trying to figure out when they're working on the algorithms, when they're hiring other tech guys, when they're hiring, marketing professionals, is how do we keep penetrating perception? How do we own more of a person's perception? That's why we keep saying attention is key. Attention is the currency, because attention allows us to tap into your perception, right? So how you see things, how people see things becomes the truth to them, because if I can see it, it is real. And that's why it's important to create structures in your life that show you what you are trying to achieve. And a lot of people do that in the professional world through vision boards, for example. Like if I'm seeing this car that I dream of every day, it starts to become tangible to me. Like I see it every day. Everywhere you drive and you see the car. When you go online, that's the only car you see, and those things aren't happening by mistake. You're actually programming your mind to stop being conscious of what you seek. And so because you're so conscious of it, you end up actually consuming more about it, which means you're more empowered and you learn more, you have more information, which means you actually start to tactically create the steps that are needed to get the thing. But you can't even start that thought mechanism within you without seeing it and believing it that it's real. Does that make sense? And I think a lot of people are undermining the value of perception. The fact that, I couldn't care who likes Uncle Waffles or who doesn't. For me, talent is talent, celebrities are celebrities. But we also have to understand that we can use perception for good and we can use perception for bad. So what you're seeing a lot with companies, with talent managers and the entertainment industry as well, is that they're not finding talented people and making them great products. They're finding people who look like great products and trying to make them talented people. And then that has another spillover effect in terms of the value and the credibility of different industries, because now everyone's going to be saying, but South African DJs aren't really good. They just look nice. And what does that mean for the actually good DJs in South Africa? Or South African designers don't actually make nice clothes. It just looks nice in pictures. And then what does that actually mean for the people who are really doing great work and who are good designers, So perception is a very big strategic tool and a lot of organizations use it. And I would like to see a world where people actually use it for good, to make talent look better than trying to make people who look like success, who look like whatever is supposed to be credible as talent. Because I think then we're paving a very dangerous path for ourselves that we can't get ourselves out of.
I really love that. There's something you said. You said it's important that I'm paraphrasing, but you said it's important that we create certain systems that enhance our production. And that also works hand in hand with what you said in the beginning, which is credibility as well. I mean, John C. Maxwell talks about this in 5 levels of leadership. He says people follow you because of your position, number one, because they have to. Number two, permission, because they want to. And then number three, production, because you create results for the team. You creating good results, you're producing. And I love how you spoke about that. That production is important and it comes with credibility. When you produce right, when you do right, when you excel as a leader, that then guarantees credibility because you are doing what must be done. But that also shows me that you're speaking about it from a perspective of sweat equity. You're saying that it doesn't only come with me looking good, speaking good, sounding good. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes with leadership, that comes with leadership. And that's the work that people don't see. And a large majority of the time, that's where many people give up. It's not always lights, cameras, and action, especially where leadership is concerned. How do you deal with those?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
and your team can see through it, right? Like if you're leading people, eventually they start to see the true you because it's very difficult to perform leadership. It's difficult to perform being present, and it's very difficult to perform excellence. At some point, you're going to be required to be those things if you're performing them. And that's where the cracks start to show. So I think for me, and we talk about network marketing and we talk about the fact that networks are the key to all tech products that have been successful in the past 20 years. YouTube, LinkedIn, Zoom, everything. Everything is about networks. It's about people coming together based on a shared value or based on, some kind of social, I guess, let's say social equity or social value that they see in the platform, right? So, with that, the core of all things network and social is trust. And that's also the core of leadership. You cannot lead anybody who doesn't trust you. And you can also really, what would the word be? You can ruin a relationship for good when people trust you and then they lose trust in you because you are actually lying or you presented yourself as something that you're not. And I think for a lot of people, they see the results of leadership. So, leaders obviously get paid a lot more. Leaders get a lot more perks than people who are not leaders, etc. And so a lot of people try to bypass the process of becoming a leader, which is actually first being a follower and a learner, and then
Wow.
working really hard to become the leader, connecting with people, helping them trust you, all of those things. That's the work you do to become a leader. It doesn't just happen overnight, right? But because now we're living in a social era where things are incredibly transparent to a large extent, people have found the tricks to bypass all the steps that are required before somebody can become a leader. And that's why we're seeing so many famous people pop up all the time. And you're like, but this person's only 20 years old. When did they get the experience and the sweat equity and the time to become so great at whatever it is they're apparently so great at, right? And I mean, age is not necessarily the determinant of good leadership because everybody learns at different paces and they have different life experiences. So maybe I've been an entrepreneur since I was 10. So by the time I'm 20, I've got 10 years under my belt. But the way real leadership presents itself is very different to the leadership that presents itself because of how it looks or because it's bypassed the steps of becoming a leader. And the cracks will show. And you'll also see it with longevity, right? So if somebody's a really good leader and a credible leader and they're a talented leader because they actually did the work, they'll become a leader for the rest of their lives. But if you're only performing leadership to look like leadership, to look successful, or whatever the case may be, you have a very short time span. You have to work super hard, take all of the benefits of leadership now because you've only got it for 2-3 years and then you're done. And once you're done for good because your credibility is lost forever. So I know for a lot of people, leadership feels like this really cool, social tool, and they feel like I'm important because I'm a leader. But I wouldn't rush into leadership. I say, if you can take your time getting into leadership, take your time, learn. Leadership is incredibly stressful. I have to go for a massage every month, and actually, it's too little. And I see a therapist, and I have to do so much work just to be able to lead. I wish sometimes I could just like sit in the corner, arrive and be like, okay, guys, what's happening today? So what should I be doing? But that's not the job that I have. I lead people, even online, I'm leading people, and it's incredibly stressful. And there are lots of repercussions when you are, for bad leadership. So for me, I say take your time. But if you are a leader, it will call you and you will have to face it and meet it at some point because I think leaders are also born. I think some are created, but I think a few leaders are born and they can't escape it.
Wow, I love that. Leaders are born, some are created. You're speaking about it from a perspective of your experience. You're not just saying it from a generic, and because I'm sure there's a reason why you think that. I'm
Yeah.
very sure of that. I trust that. Um, And that's so very true. I love also that transparent moment you gave us about, you've got to see a therapist, you've got to, get that massage.
Yes.
Sometimes you feel like not showing up. It does happen, it does happen. But I think it's important that leaders then have these conversations on how do you move through it there. I think about a lot of great things that have happened in my life. I'm fairly young, but I think about when the great things that have happened in my life, they all happened from a place of rest. They did not happen from a place of rush or stress, or a place of me acknowledging the lack or that which I didn't have. And so I think the
Mm-hmm.
importance of rest has to be rest and reset. The importance of it has to be emphasized, especially in a leader's life. What did it take for you to value that? Because a leader is one who puts the interests and the the interests and the values and the issues of others first. It's overwhelming, like you said, because a leader has to carry the weight of a vision. Someone thinks a vision is only the good stuff. Vision comes with weight. And what did it take for you to realize that, yeah, I do carry the weight of the vision of the people I'm following, the people I'm leading, sorry, or the people in which are following me within these seasons or assignments. But what did it take for you to realize, no, I do have to prioritize my rest, my reset as a leader?
I mean, that's a brilliant question. And you're right, it's a conversation we don't have enough as leaders and creators, people who are building impactful and meaningful things. I am like a type A person, I believe that there's a way to do things, and being great means that you're working 24/7 and you don't rest and you don't sleep. It's so dramatic, right?
Yeah.
And that was informed also by how I grew up, because I was a deputy head girl, and then I was also a prefect, and then I've been in a lot of leadership roles. I mean, I was the girl, I remember in high school, where I would get to miss a few classes so that I could speak to prospective parents who wanted their kids to come to the school, because they felt like I was good at articulating the value that our school had to bring. And mind you, this is one of the top 5 schools in South Africa. So I was there and I was that girl. So for me, everything's always been about high performance, high performance. I'd leave school at 10 p.m. every day. My mom would drop dinner at school for me because I did
Oh,
so many things that I was always at school. I was at school Monday to Saturday, essentially, but Saturdays I'd leave at like 1. So I've been working. I am exhausted. And then adulthood came. Varsity, I was hustling, trying to make things work and build. And then after varsity, then I'm starting these companies. And I just never rested. I literally would never rest. And now I think it was the end of last year. Imagine it took me that long. First, I started therapy. So I started
mm,
going to therapist beginning of last year, because a friend of mine was like, no, you need to speak to somebody who you don't work with, who doesn't know you, who can actually tell you how to navigate through your life in a healthy way, right?
mm.
So first I started seeing a therapist, and they said to me, you need to rest. And I was like, but no, highly efficient people don't rest like that. I can rest on Saturday for 4 hours, it's fine. It's like, no, you need to rest. Then I started listening to podcasts about sleep and rest and just how to live your life in a healthy way, because health is not just about going to the gym and eating well, it's also sleeping. It's also resting. It's also not being on your phone. It's so many things, right? So I listened to those podcasts, and everything was just saying to me, the way you are going is literally a fast track to burnout.
Mm.
And it's very difficult when you see results from being overly productive to think that being just productive in a healthy way will work, because you've never done that. So you think to yourself, no, but I have to wake up at 5 and I need to eat, work till 11, because that's the only way things work. So it took a long time, like I said, literally last year. And I think it was at the end of last year in December, I couldn't do it anymore. I had no ideas. I couldn't lead anyone. I was exhausted. I
Mm.
couldn't tweet. I couldn't write. I couldn't do a podcast. I was done. I was finished. And I just thought to myself, this has to change. Life has to be different. I need to slow down. I need to reprioritize. I really need to take myself seriously in terms of just life, the value of life. I mean, we saw Ricky passed away, Dimples, people, are dying. And when people die, you just think to yourself, will I be happy if I die tomorrow with everything I've done? Or have I lived enough? Have I made enough time for just going out with my friends? Just living life and not just working, And so I think it was just all of these events just made me slow down. And I literally, the first week that I took off, I slept for long. I just slept, and I woke up rejuvenated. I could go online and things made sense. I could go talk to my team, and I literally wanted to be around them. So I think for a lot of leaders who are like me, who tend to be high functioning and believe in like just overwork yourself, you kind of almost need to be in the place where you have no choice but to rest to realize the benefits of rest, because you won't believe it, because everything you've done so far was a result of being overly productive. But now that I know, and like legitimately know, it's not just a concept. I knew the concept the whole time, but I'd never experienced the true effects of it until the end of last year. And so now that I've experienced it and I've changed the quality of life that I want for myself, I literally will prioritize eating my lunch for an hour, taking time off on the weekends. I don't even really use my phone on the weekends anymore. I don't talk to people in my team after 4 unless it's really important. I don't speak to them before gym. I only speak to everybody and answer emails after the gym. Like it's just creating those boundaries, making time for myself, not feeling bad, and also customizing my lifestyle for the kind of job I have. Because I also think that a lot of us try to make our jobs mimic professional jobs. So, okay, everyone in corporate goes to work at 8 and they like this and they do this. And it's like, but if you don't have a corporate job, why are you trying to act corporate? Don't do that. If you got the kind of job that allows you to take a walk as you are typing, to work in the park, take it. There's nothing unprofessional about it. What matters is the results. It's not how you achieve the results. And if you have the luxury to redefine your experience, your work experience, and actually create a day where you are producing in a way that works for you, take it. I was working like I'm working at Standard Bank in the C-suite of the investment department, and I actually don't need to. I have a marketing agency. I'm an influencer. I'm an educator. I can take my time. And so I slowed down and I do not regret it. And I literally want to start creating content that just helps entrepreneurs and creatives learn how to rest, but also learn how to redesign their work experience so that they're actually working as creatives and not as corporate professionals. And I think also being a creative, you're undermined in the sense of the factors of production that are needed for you to produce the work that you produce. But creativity is draining. And it's draining. It's draining to design websites all day. It's draining to think of campaigns. It's hard. That's why our industry, the marketing, advertising, there's a whole culture of drug abuse and alcohol abuse, because it's really difficult to come up with fresh ideas all the time, to come up with strategies. So we need to change our lifestyles and really curate them for the jobs that we have. Get inspiration, like you said, you find that you come back fresher when you take a break. I also found that that's the same with me. If I take a break, go watch a movie, read a book, I come back with many ideas. But if I'm just sitting all day on my laptop, I'm done. So I have nothing to give. And also as a leader, I know I'm going on, I'm almost done. But as a leader, I also think part of leadership is inspiring people. And you can't inspire people if you're not inspired. So you need to prioritize a life that inspires you so you can give your team the energy that they need to be inspired and produce the work that you're looking for or looking for out of them.
Wow, that's so good. Prioritize a life that inspires you. You said a lot, but in the
Yeah.
beginning, what you said, it was amazing. In the beginning, what you said reminded me. Firstly, you spoke about health, and you said eating healthy is not only just putting in the time in the gym, working out, or eating right. Eating, your health is also a manifestation of that which is on the inside, which reminds me of a letter that I once read. It was an epistle in history that was written by an apostle named John, and he was writing it to his followers, and he was saying, "It's my joy to see you walk in light and in truth, And then he said, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. And
Yay.
as you said that, it made me think about, wait, that letter, that prosperity in our soul is that which produces health, is that
Yes.
which produces a large proportion of health. And when we think of
Mhm.
our soul, it's our mind, it's our will, it's our emotions, and it's our intellect. And if you want to push it further, it's our imagination. And
Yes.
what you said there then tied with how you concluded your answer, which was that you have to prioritize a life that inspires you, that inspires your soul, that feeds your soul.
Mhm.
What is that for you as a leader? What can you say inspires your soul? What can you say channels your soul? And the reason why I'm asking you this is because leaders have emotions. Everybody has emotions. I think when people look at leaders from the platform or from the forefront, we may overlook the fact that they're human beings. We may overlook the fact that they have emotions. We may overlook
Mm.
the fact that leaders hurt, leaders bleed, leaders experience trauma. So yeah, what feeds your soul? And I'd really, really love to know that.
What feeds my soul? That's a beautiful question. I am a simple person, in the sense that I believe in being connected to the earth and being connected to what feels real for me. I spend a lot of time in my head. I spend a lot of my time with ideas. I do a lot of that. So I'm like a mad scientist. I have like 3 boards in my office, and all of them are for different kinds of ideas.
Yeah.
And then I have spreadsheets and spreadsheets of like timelines and rollouts. So I have a lot of like thinking and craziness going on. So for me, inspiration comes from the things I can hold and touch, that are real, that come from the earth. I like walking around barefoot, like on sand. I'm that kind of person. I love nature because it literally takes me out of my comfort zone and it reminds me, hey, the world is bigger than you. Everything actually is bigger than you. You are such a small part of a bigger picture. And that means you need to humble yourself because of that. I think sometimes we spend so much time in our own lives and facing our own problems and our own successes that we don't actually realize that you're a small part of a big picture. Relax. One little mistake is not going to ruin your entire life. One little success is not going to make you the best human being ever in the world. It's all relative. You're a part of a bigger picture. When you go to the ocean and you're standing there, you feel so small. And I think as leaders, we need to get into the habit of doing things that make us feel that small, that humble us to,
Mm.
yes, you are a leader here, but really in the bigger scheme of the world, you're just part of something much, much bigger and much more profound than you. And actually, the world was designed in such a beautiful and complex way that even you as a leader, you're not that great that you would understand how it's all created. I really believe in doing things that humble me and take me completely out of the grandeur and the ego of, oh, I'm a leader, or I'm this person, or I have this many followers. I think we really need to just find ourselves in spaces that don't care about that. And nature easily humbles you. Being with my dog is a lot of fun because I'm present. I'm there with other dogs and they're doing doggy things. And I feel good with that. It actually inspires me. Nothing really profound inspires me. I don't have like, I'll look at a painting by whoever. No,
Yeah.
reading inspires me. I love reading. I was looking at a video, I think it was on TikTok or somewhere, and someone was talking about how it's so important for people to spend time alone. You need to spend time alone with yourself. And for me, reading is spending time alone with myself. And it's not only that, it's also a way to travel the world. It's also a way for me to understand how different people are living and thinking. And I love that. I love being exposed to people's thoughts. That inspires me. I love seeing how people think and do things and perceive the world. I'm inspired by them. And then I also have other activities like cooking. I like cooking, trying new recipes, Nigella, Jamie Oliver, whoever. I love doing that kind of stuff. Anything that I can hold and touch, anything that forces me to be completely present
Mm.
and not in my head thinking about many other things, not on my phone. No, it has to be something that I can hold, touch, experience, go to the gym, do whatever, but it has to be a physical activity where I can't be on my phone or on my laptop, or my attention can't be in other places. But yeah, I think literature, food, music, I think all of those things inspire everyone in one way or another, in some shape or form. And we all find different value in it, but I think it inspires all of us, and it taps into our feelings, it taps into our intellect, it taps into so much that you can't just naturally tap into when you're working, or easily tap into. So those are the things that inspire me.
That's really amazing. I'm sure you've even given somebody who is inspired by those similar things as well peace of mind to say, okay, I'm not alone. This is where it's at, really, you know.
Yeah,
And I can.
inspiration is not a profound thing. It's just being inspired, and your life is yours. Like if you're inspired by pictures, you're inspired, if pens inspire you, be inspired. I think the word inspired is overused, and
Mm,
there's a lot of pressure to make this inspiration thing very
true.
big and profound. And it's like, no, inspiration is what moves you, what
Mm,
makes you feel, what helps you feel driven to move. That's all. That's inspiration. And it can be
mm.
small, it can be big, it can be anything you want it to be.
And you said something so good about how the bigger picture is important. You love doing things that put you in a position where you see that the world is bigger than you. And that
Mhm.
really got me thinking that when you put yourself as a leader in positions that make you understand that the world is bigger than you, that will fuel you and inspire you to build things that are bigger than you as well. And I'm not even
Yes.
talking about literally just building things that are bigger than you, but building things that will outlast your breath where impact is concerned,
Mm.
building things that will outlast, that will move far beyond your life and the short space that you have on earth, building things like that. And that's so good. As we're about to wrap up, I'd love to speak more on that, the bigger picture, seeing the world uh, bigger than it is. And I also think that the bigger picture, this is just my thoughts. You tell me what you think. I think that the bigger picture also is influenced by understanding that what we see is not everything, and what we see is not 100% that which is. It's not it. There's something beyond this, you know. There's something beyond the earth. This is just my thoughts and my sentiments. There's something beyond what we see with our physical eyes. There's something beyond this tangible, this natural, there's something greater. And we can have you and I can have a conversation like this because we're leaders. So a leader has to always be visionary.
Yeah.
A leader has to see that which can be, that which has the ability to be, and occupy the present while doing it. So, what do you think about the bigger picture? Like when we're talking about it more from a perspective of your life's journey, and also just about building things that may outlast you, or building things outlive you. Yeah, I think that's the right word. Things that may outlive you and may outlive your existence as a whole.
I think you put that really well when you say leaders have to have vision, and how what we see isn't everything, and it's not the entire picture, it's not it. I believe that we're all put on this world to help things move further. So your participation is limited to the time span of how long you live, and you can add to this world and the story of the world as much as you want in the time frame that you're given of your life on earth, right? But I also believe that what we see has already happened. What we see is already happening. So if you're going to be in this world and you're going to do something impactful and meaningful, you are going to be that brave person that takes their vision and their faith and tries to make it something that will be the present reality in the future, right?
Mhm.
So you're not going to be too bogged down about what we already see because it's happened. A lot of string of events have already happened to make this thing real, right? So you can't change that. It's already happened. Your job as the leader is to create new things or to create other things or build onto existing things but newness needs to come from you because your presence in the world is also a presence of newness. It's unique. And what are you doing with your unique abilities? How are you adding that into the DNA and fabric of life, you know? And I know it's sounding like a lot of a philosophical conversation, but honestly, it is. And that's why motivation, you know, church and people talking about faith and that kind of thing, it seems like mumbo jumbo, but guys, that really is life. Everything that we see is a result of somebody's mindset and somebody's courageous imagination. You
Wow.
know, they
Please
had
say
to be
that
somebody who said,
again.
I don't
Please say that again. Please say that again.
everything that we see, everything that we see is the result of somebody's courageous imagination and their mindset,
Wow.
you know? So, and it's actually funny because I was at an art gallery and they were having a whole show. A few friends of mine, very well-known artists who are very successful. And the guy was saying, oh, but you know, it's very hard to make money out of art because people don't understand art. And I said, no, 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 no. Everything, literally, like what I said to you, everything we see is a result of somebody's courageous imagination, having the will and the audacity to make it real. So that means that art is just as legitimate as the building that you see. It's just as legitimate as the car that's outside. It's real, it's manifested into the world. And so, how do you make that thing valuable? You create the value, right? Nobody's going to give something value that they don't have the vision in them to impart into the world. So, if you've got the vision and you're imparting it into the world, you have the responsibility to give that thing value, right? And the right people working on the right things will know how to make something so valuable that it's commonplace. And that's when you know that the value proposition of something has been expertly crafted because it starts to become normal when it was actually something new 10 years ago, 100 years ago, right? So, and also things become normal over time because somebody gave the baton to, Lebo gave the baton to Letabo, Letabo said, okay, you've made a cake, I'm gonna start putting icing. And then somebody else said, okay, but now we need sprinkles, you know? So really it is a process and you need to humble yourself because you can't dictate how far you're going to be in the process of the evolution of the thing that you imagined. You have to humble yourself and say, I'm here, I'm doing it now, and I hope I can do it for as long as possible. But also do it with the understanding that it will change form, that it will go into other people's hands, and they will make it something different. That's the whole point of evolution. And as leaders, we are not custodians of evolution. So we are only just participants. We don't get to decide how something evolves and stays in the market because we don't have that DNA that the other person has and the perspective that they have to create the thing and make it something that we couldn't see. You know, and there's a very popular phrase that likes to go around social media where people say the vision was given to you, you know, so it's up to you to make it real. Nobody else has the message. Nobody else had it in them. And if we understand that, we must also respect the fact that it's somebody else's vision and somebody else was given a message to make this thing better. And you have no business in that. It was not given to you. Yours was to create it. For somebody else was to make it better. For somebody else is to make it more popular, whatever the case may be, right? And so I have a lot of like views about the bigger picture and our participation in the bigger picture. And I really think that you can't overthink it as well. You must just do what you know how to do. And you will see when you take your head up that, oh my gosh, I've actually just impacted so many people. I didn't even know this was possible, you know, because all you're doing is there's this thing in me, it has to come out, I'm going to make it happen. And then other people will tell you how they are experiencing it, what it means to them. You don't have to worry about making it make sense to them. Because if you do that, then you're going to stop producing for them instead of listening to the message within you that says, this is how you must do the thing. Right? So it's a very complex thing where the bigger picture really rests in you having the faith and believing in the voice within you, believing in your thoughts, believing in a world you can't see, believing in concepts that don't make sense to others. Even now, with the things I'm doing within marketing, people are furious. They just like, what is this girl doing? This makes no sense. But I'm like, no, this makes absolute sense. This is the way we need to go. I don't know why it makes sense. Honestly, I can give you a million explanations, but if I'm being completely honest with you, it just feels right. And that just feels right is so deep within me that I'm willing to have a public persona, invest my money and time into structures that are trying to make this thing as real as possible, and then sit in rooms with people who don't believe in me, who are very powerful, and saying, this is what I believe, you know? So I've put everything into it. And this is just based on how I'm feeling. It makes sense to me in a very deep way. And that's why I think also when you're watching motivational content, they say no one can inspire you to believe in yourself or to believe in your idea. It must just come naturally. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, maybe it's not for you, and you should go find what's there for you. And so the bigger picture is all about faith manifestation and understanding your role in the bigger scheme of life and humanity.
Wow, the bigger picture is faith, manifestation, and understanding your role in the bigger scheme of life. Wow, that was so amazing. What an amazing way to close it off. Love how you touched on faith and vision, because we know that vision is seeing which cannot be seen with your physical eyes. You're seeing through your heart gate, not your eye gate. The late Miles Monroe says that vision is the function of the heart. We know that vision can't be sight functional. And then faith is the substance of things that we hope for, and it's the evidence of the things which we cannot see and perceive with our natural eyes. So the things you speak, the concepts and principles and laws that you're speaking about are not tangible, neither are they physical or natural, but they are real. They are substance at the end of the day. That's, you're telling us that we have to have an understanding that at the end of the day, it's substance, it's real. And also love how you said there's always that inner voice on the inside and it guides you. It just makes me think that you have to have that vision, especially when you say when there are people that don't believe in you. There are people that sometimes don't even understand what you're trying to build or trying to do. The only thing that can keep you going is that divine assignment on the inside of you. That assignment that you say that, no, this is bigger than me, it's greater than me. And I've confirmed through faith, as it is written, I've confirmed through faith that I will live by faith. Leaders should live by faith. And that was just so amazing. I really, really enjoyed interviewing you. I enjoyed speaking to you. Let me say that. I enjoyed having a nice conversation with you. Any last remarks before we head out? And any last things that you'd like to impart and pour into the leader that's listening, that's trying to develop the right heart, motives, develop the right head for leadership and the right hands for leadership?
Thank you for having me on the podcast, Letabo. I really enjoyed myself actually. And it's incredible how well you summarize things and how you can draw from different opinion leaders. And I think it's so incredible that you can do that. That's a very rare skill and it's not easy to do. So anyone who's watching this, Letabo is goated. That's what people say.
I'm grateful.
You're really
Thank
good
you.
at what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, parting words with leadership. I think when it comes to leadership, you have to be open to the idea that it is A, very complex, but B, that it's rooted in people. It's not about you, it's about people that you serve. I like to say a lot of the time when I'm consulting with different companies and people that you can't blame your customers. Anything they're not understanding, any behavior that they're displaying as a result of the communication that you are giving them and everything that you are showing them as a brand and a company. And it's the same with leadership. Am I saying that you can't have people who don't behave properly or who are, a distraction in the team? No, I'm not saying that those don't exist, they do. But how those things unfold, how you navigate through them is all because of you, how you behave, the tone that you've set, the culture that you've ingrained within your team. And so make sure that you genuinely are leading by example, by truly being authentic. Be authentic. Lead the way you believe is right. Don't lead performatively. Lead in the way you think is right. If you think you guys must play ping pong every Friday and you think people should be open to say whatever they want to say, then it's fine. Lead authentically. And then be very clear about the boundaries, about the rules, and be fair, be transparent. We're getting into an era where the new hire, the Gen Z, the younger people, they do not take and tolerate things that they feel don't fit who they are. So they're requiring bosses to be very honest, very transparent, and open to communication. Don't be a boss like the bosses we've seen in the past. That does not work in the tech age. It does not work in this new age where people are incredibly informed and they have options and they don't mind sitting at home doing nothing until they get a job that they actually like. Be a leader who's also informed. Read, understand trends, understand people trends, understand all of those things matter, and also like immerse yourself in social media. I don't think enough leaders are doing social media. Like, you don't have to build a personal brand online, but know your social medias, understand the trends, know how to speak to your employees with the things that they know, and let them teach you too. You're not the boss because you know the most. You're just the boss because you're the best leader. And being the best leader doesn't mean you know everything. It just means that you know how to lead people. So be open to knowledge sharing, be teachable, be a human being. We're not in the era where bosses are these scary, big, authoritative people. Now they're just people. And the more inspiring they are, the more authentic they are, the realer they are, the better results they get from their leadership.